Welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneur Speaker Series. And I'm very excited about today's guest, Leo Herrera. We got him on the show. It has been a minute. We have been discussing and talking about doing this for a while now. Finally, here's the moment we have been waiting for because Leo Herrera is a very, very interesting individual. And over the years, I've really grown accustomed to him because he is such a young talent. He's so disciplined. He's very successful on his path into entrepreneurship. So, with no further ado, Leo Herrera, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rob. Really appreciate you having me. I'm excited to share some insights in my journey.
Absolutely. We looked forward to talking to you, Leo, because you have a very interesting journey, right? Your journey as a top pro golf athlete, right? It started very, very early. It runs in the family. As a matter of fact, you grew up next to a golf course thanks to your parents. So why don't you talk us or take us back to the beginning? Like, what was it like to grow up in your household?
Yeah, amazing. I grew up right in front of a golf course. I started playing golf when I was 3 years old. I started competing when I was 7 years old. I remember winning my first four tournaments, and that was like cool. It gave me the motivation to be like, wow, like I got to do this forever. So ever since then, always motivated. My dad got me into the sport. He was an athlete. He taught himself the game of golf, and my mom was amazing. She, cooked great food for us at
Yeah,
home, Hispanic household,
yeah,
the
yeah,
arepas that, we gave you when you came back
yeah,
to our
yeah. I
house.
had a little taste of that.
And yeah, it was awesome. I had a great brother as well. Have a great brother. He's 18 years old, so about 4 years younger than me. And yeah, we both grew up playing the game competitively. I was a top 20 junior golfer in the country by the time I graduated high school and, played Division 1 golf and, turned professional after that, which I'm sure we'll get into. But that's kind of how it was growing up. Just a lot of competitive golf, playing at a high level, or at the highest level I could, and always in that mindset to be getting better and better every single day.
And last time when we had an opportunity to play some golf together, one of the things that I noticed, you introduced me to your family, which your folks are like super nice. But one of the things that I noticed when I came into the house, your dad, he either I remember he was just leaving or coming back from this bike ride. So right off the bat, I noticed this kind of this competitive environment, right? Always in the sense of like achieving your goal, right? Never like you're definitely not the couch potato type of family, right? You're always on the move. So where do you think that comes from? Like that sense of like having to achieve your goals and not wasting any time, right? Non-refundable minutes.
Yeah, 100%. Really good way to put it. I mean, my dad was a super athlete. He was a model in Venezuela back in his town. I mean, his six pack is in one of the malls or was in one of the malls. So like he had to stay in shape,
Yeah.
and was just an athlete, played great basketball, cycling. So, he always had that drive for like with his body and his athletic ability to keep going, which he definitely translated over to me and my brother. And my mom was super smart. She studied medicine. She was a dentist. Super, super smart individual. So she kind of like brought me more of that side. And, it just blended really nicely. And I was very, just committed to everything I was doing because, I was always striving for excellence.
And
I
remind
was
us,
always like a
remind us
household
how
kid.
old were you when you started competing or getting into the practice to hit your top level, in this case, golf?
Yeah, I started competing when I was 7 years old. Uh,
7 years old.
Ever since then, yeah, it would be like weekly tournaments. Just like, there's a lot of really good organizations out there that are putting together consistent tournaments, and yeah, I played a lot of them growing up.
And fast forward, if you look back at the 7-year-old Leo Herrera back then, right, under the guidance of his dad, who had been a great influence in your life, who brought in, I'm assuming, most of that mindset, right, of consistent practice, showing up early, practice, in this case, your swing, your position, right, your drive. What has changed between then and now? Like, how do you approach your game on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, the discipline just got more and more as I went on. I I would say at 7, I was just kind of like scratching the surface, just having fun with golf and like happen to be good. But obviously, like since then, I've definitely layered on top another layer of discipline, and just resilience. I would say a lot of golf, it's tough sometimes.
Yeah.
It's not easy mentally and physically sometimes. Walking 18 holes, playing competitive golf, like, it's a grind and practicing and everything. So, I'm super grateful like for what have been able to experience. I wouldn't want it any other way, but it's definitely a discipline. Like you're out there committed to getting better every day because it's so difficult to get better at golf.
Yeah.
You really got to get good at noticing the finer details, which has been kind of more of my focus over these, I guess, other half of my life as a golfer.
Yeah. And so this phase of your life today, right? And I've been very fortunate to see you in action on the golf course. But also we have done some work together, and you have your companies now, you got your platform, you're very active on social media, right? You're in the influencer space, there's a lot of people listening to you. They're looking up to you. I've actually seen people from all ages, especially on the golf course, coming to you for advice, for guidance, right? You're definitely, in the top 2% right there, dominating that golf course. It was beautiful to witness that. But how do you currently take some of these principles that you practice in your sports, the discipline, the showing up early, the working out, the practicing of your body composition? How do you take that into business, right? What are some of these overlaps that you have experienced of seen that are really useful in the game of business right now?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost with golf, like I've always seen it as an art. So I've been very creative as a golfer, and that translated over to business. Like the majority of my businesses, like it comes from a creative lens. I would say I'm more on the creator side,
Mhm.
the right brain they call it, and I love to just tap into that creative side, and I got it from the game of golf, I would say. Another thing is the discipline, like, the discipline of having to be consistent every single day. With my content, I'm posting content every single day. So, I started a podcast, like continuing to do that, like on a very consistent basis.
Yeah.
And,
You have your
it's,
group calls, right? I remember joining some of
yeah,
your meetings online with the community.
correct. And yeah, just it's having to stay consistent has been a very important facet to business that I've translated over from golf. And honestly, patience. Like realizing that it just, it takes time and like you just got to be, put one step in front of the other. With golf, my biggest thing, I talk about it in my book. It's patience, commitment, and humility are the three things we got to have to be an elite golfer as a foundational principle. And I would say those three really translate over to life, and anything that you're doing, just being patient through the process, allowing the energy to just flow, and committed to what you're doing, and then staying humble is a big thing. Just keeping one step in front of the other and doing your thing.
So talking about patience, we live in this on-demand economy nowadays, right? The whole world revolves around the internet, especially the new generations, right? They grow up with, mobile devices, the internet, instant content. Do you still believe that we still have a lot of patience, or is this something that you have to develop and practice in order to get really good at it?
Yeah, you definitely have to practice it. Like I meditate every single day. I've been doing it for the last like 3 to 4 years, ever since I dropped out of college. And that to me has been the biggest differentiator of my performance. And like I've learned how to like practice just being in the moment, in the now. Like this is the moment right here, right now. Like it's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
And
And
like
I
a
and,
lot of
and
us
I'm
think it's
feeling it. We're here. We're on.
Exactly. And a lot of us think it's just going to happen in some future. And it's like, it's here. Like until you don't realize that it's already here right now, like, we don't really, thrive. So that's kind of my perspective on it.
And so walk us through, because I know that you are very connected, Leo. Not only do practice your craft at a very prestigious golf course in Florida and Doral, and there's a lot of influential people there. But talk us through some of the individuals that you got the pleasure of meeting, right, in the game of golf or just overall. Like, what are some of the individuals that you have been able to connect with? And tell us how these interactions, how did that feel to you to be in the room with some of these, the most influential people in the world?
Yeah, man, golf's been good to me. I've met a lot of really cool people. I played golf with Donald Trump this year. I played
Wow.
golf with John Daly, who's a legend in the game. I played with him and Johnny Damon from baseball. I've played with Jorge Linares. He's a four-time world champion boxer. Chef James
Yeah.
Tahan. He's a famous chef. I've played with, Brie Teresi, models, like, all types of people that is just like, wow, comedians, like cool to just be around. And also like very high net worth individuals that
Yeah.
just really good. Like, honestly, that's the bulk of it. I mean, the celebrities come here and like there, but the bulk of like being in a golf club like I am here in Miami at Trump National Doral, there's a lot of high net worth individuals around, and it's just you're just like sharing with that. So that's cool. But yeah, those are some of the names.
Yeah, no, impressive. And I bet you're still the youngest kid on the course, right? That's the most impressive part. Like, it takes a lot of work and effort. And, offside, we talk about this a lot, right? About the discipline of practicing, because business is really, it's not even a game, it's war, right? Influence and building a brand, right? It's war, because if you don't do it, right, or if you're inconsistent, right, somebody else will show up, right? And then that target audience, that people that are looking for your solutions, right, or looking for that advice, right, they end up being like scattered and fragmented all over the internet. So it's a consistent game of discipline and showing up and practicing that craft. Now, when you play or get in the room with some of these people, right, and you had the pleasure now to forming some of these business relationships, and I know that we're going to moving into 2025 doing something together, something cool, which we will share with our group later on. But how do you add value? And I bet you get this a lot, but being the youngest kid on the course, right? Being the youngest kid in the room because you started so early, and because never underestimate, right? You have been practicing for how many years? 15, 16, 17 plus years so far?
Yeah, yeah,
17 plus years. So how do you add value to people like that? Let's talk about the former president, right? You just mentioned that. That's
yeah.
new to me. So I can imagine that that has been an incredible interaction. So I know Donald Trump, right? He's very vocal about his performance, right? He's even in his presidential debates, he brags about his, the distance that he can hit. So tell us about that interaction, and how do you, from a entrepreneurial perspective, or just being in the room with these people, how do you add value when it comes to those individuals?
Honestly, just asking meaningful questions. Like going into it from a perspective of like, a lot of these people, everyone's excited to see them. And it's just like, whoa, like, can I take a picture? Can I do this, that? Like just getting into the way they think. Like honestly, just getting into like those meaningful questions to see what their perspective is. Like it just makes you kind of stand out, at least for me. Like being young and asking meaningful questions to these people about life and like advice for like me going into my life, is awesome. Like I asked Trump when we were playing, like, what do you think is the one thing that young men in America need today more than ever?
Mhm.
And he was like, that's a good question. To get that, I was like, I felt great. And then he was like, hope, and we elaborated on it, but like it stood out that I asked like those questions. Like he
Yeah.
he even mentioned like you asked great questions. They like the other people I played with didn't really ask many questions.
Yeah.
Like they were just like, yeah, I'm playing with
And I
Trump.
love
Like
that you
awesome.
point this out. So it almost sounds like if you change the quality of your questions, right? Change the quality of your questions, it can change the outcome of your life. Do you agree with that
Yes,
statement?
absolutely. Because if you're kind of operating from you're setting the frequency in which you want to operate. Like if you're gonna just ask like surface level questions, just to get like the conversation going and it feel like normal or whatever, like that's what you're gonna get. But if you go deep and you really understand like the experience that you're having and like, like get into it, the core of like the message, then you're not gonna get it. So like you're operating at two different frequencies there. And I think it's all due to the questions that we ask.
I love that. Yeah, I personally experienced that in my life over and over again. That if you change the types of questions, and like you said, right, you have to go deeper, right? You get a better output, a better answer, something that you can really like analyze and see, what you can take away from that and implement it in your own life. And I think the problem is that everything is like service level, right? And that's also partly of the fault of the internet, right? There's so much content out there, but it's very service level. It doesn't go deep, right? It's always like, hey, here's the outcome, or here's what we want to achieve, but nobody asks, how did you get there? Right. So I'm a big fan of asking better questions to change the outcomes of your results. So moving into 2025, what are some of the questions that you're going to be asking to some of these individuals that I know that we're going to, have a good time with over the next couple of months? But what are some of the things that you want to ask some of these individuals, and how is that going to benefit your personal growth?
How can we add value to each other? That's going to
Okay.
be like the main thing. Like now, in order for me to really maximize my impact and, make the most of the people around me, like I've gone through a phase where I've realized my value, optimized my potential, and now I'm at a point where I'm maximizing my impact. And I talk about it in my course where that we built together, the
Hmm.
connection formula. And now in order to be able to actually do that, like you got to come into it from a point of view of collaboration instead of competition. Like
Hmm.
the competition element is still there where you do want to strive for better and better, but like in order to win, everyone must win.
Yeah.
So that's the game I'm playing in 2025. And I'm going to be asking all these people that are in my network, like, how can we truly add value to each other? I have built, something on my end. You've built something on your end. Like, let's put it together and make it happen for the world.
So when I speak to a lot of entrepreneurs and founders or people that want to get into the business from all walks of life and different parts of the world. And I see a clear difference between the top 1% who are all about collaboration, adding value, as you said so rightfully, just adding value to each other. Because they understand you need people, right? You need people to grow and expand. You can't do it alone. And then you have the 98% that, might operate a small business, but they kind of stick to the concept like nobody can do what I do, right? So they kind of stick into that little bubble. Now, what is your experience on operating from that point of view or like that mindset? Do you think that people that have that problem or that challenge of letting go and delegation and collaboration, do you think they have an opportunity to scale, let's say beyond, six figures?
I don't think so. I mean, I think you really got to be able to understand how to like, move the energy. Like honestly, taking away the materialistic aspect of this and just looking at it from an energetic standpoint, which is everything is energy at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Like in order to move the energy, you have to move the energy. So like, like delegating things to others and understanding how to work together with what's around you, is what's going to exponentially like help you exponentially grow
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Mhm.
I'm a young entrepreneur. I'm learning myself, but that's what I've learned throughout this journey is kind of like the way to go.
And
So
how does that
yeah,
relate in golf, right? Because if we take those things separate, eventually you're one and the same, right? Your business, your platform is a reflection of who you are professionally in sports as well. But in sports, right? Because I think there's a lot of people out there who might not be in the game of golf, so they might not understand the game and what's involved here. But how about the people that were involved in getting you right? You had sponsorships and you had funding from several groups, individuals, and companies to participate at the highest level. So did you was that a solo game? Was it just you because you are, you have raw talent, or was this a group effort?
Well, a little bit of both, honestly. But I mean, first thing first with golf, like practicing together with other people that are as good as you or better than you will make you better than honestly just practicing on your own.
Yeah, 100%.
So like that's one thing where you're just moving the energy. You're just being with people, like the right type of people around your environment that are doing the same thing, your same craft. Um, but yeah, as far as like being a professional in the world of golf, it is a team. Like, you have your physio, your sponsor, your mental coach, your swing instructor, all these things that, elements, nutritionist, trainer, all of it. And it is a game that you got to play it with the right team. And you got to have the right people, but at the end of the day, it's you. Like
Yeah.
you're the guy hitting the golf shot. It's an independent sport. So learning how to balance it, I say that now, but golf is, translating over more towards a team sport with Live Golf in the Saudis starting that golf tour. But and that's where I kind of see the future of the game going, and I want to like support that vision. But yeah, that's kind of what I see. I mean, it is a collaborative experience if you want to be able to get to the top.
I love that. So in as we're coming towards the end here, talk us through on what is on your plate for 2025, right? What is going to happen for Leo Herrera, and obviously you got your beautiful platform built. You got this very impactful course that is now finally out and live, and people are taking advantage of that. So talk to us the big plan, and how does that team element come into play, right? Because I've seen you focus a lot on being a leader rather than working in the business. You're really practicing, and I commend you for that, on working on the business and being on the forefront and opening doors, right? And getting into the room with some of these incredible people that can open big doors for you. So talk to us about 2025, and how can people, how can they follow you, or how can they connect and be part of that growth?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this year. They can connect with me through the Connected Golfer. The connectedgolfer.com is my website on social media, on Instagram, short form content. I
We'll,
post
we'll, we'll put
tips.
up we'll put up a link somewhere on the page so people can connect with you directly.
Yeah. And so like for me, as I build my brand as the Connected Golfer, like I'm gonna continue to just build my core audience of people that want to improve their mindset and utilize the game of golf as a tool for that. And people that are obviously, into the game of golf, want to play and use it. And as I go, continue to open doors for my company, Quality Play. We do corporate golf experiences. We're currently, reaching out to a lot of other corporations that would want to hire us to have an experience for them. We've done a few of them so far, and we're going full throttle with that. We have a good team around us that's going to help fulfill that vision, and every step of the way, it'll just be more and more refined. But this year, we really got that one off the ground to start gaining some momentum. And then, yeah, just honestly, I have my podcast, so I've been doing a lot of episodes. Stay Connected Podcast is what it's called,
Mhm.
and I'm sharing just experiences that other golf industry experts are going through and building relationships with people in the industry. So also want to build a community of these other golf industry experts and help them understand and do what I've done
Yeah.
and build a brand, build an ecosystem where they can monetize as well because a lot of them they're kind of suffering. So that's why we're doing the corporate events to kind of get them paid in front of the right people, but also helping them on the back end to understand like, the overall picture of like what to do. So that's kind of what I'm focused on in 2025, and I'm excited for it.
I'm very excited too. I know what's kind of cooking up on the background, and maybe just before we end this episode, we always have so much to talk about. But why don't you tell the audience a little bit on the experience side in which you have been creating recently? You reached out and you showed me a new idea that you came up with some of the people that you have access to or that you have played professionally, right? People at a very, very high level. So give us a little snippet on what that may look like in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, first, it's really building that community of golf experts, like really bringing them together and just adding value. And then, like, as far as the actual experience goes, like, we're reaching out to corporations that want to bring out their clients to a golf tournament, a golf experience, and we're putting it together for them. So basically, like, bringing other professionals that we know and certify to be a part of the experience, and doing clinics, workshops, and just
And this
teaching
is
pro
open to the
challenges.
audience, right? This is open to everybody.
No, so this is a private experience that's created for a private corporate event. So it's more of a higher end experience than kind of an open to the public. For, on the personal brand side though, like, I'm going to be doing a ton of pop-up events with my community that are already following me. That's more of a public way for people to connect with me, and that's kind of the differentiator. But we really wanted to create a quality experience,
Yeah.
a high-end experience that, it's more of a high ticket offer, and just provide that and connect the dots between the corporate world, or let's say the 99% of people that maybe aren't that good at golf and want to learn and be involved, and the 1% that, is, on the come up trying to make a living playing professionally, has a lot of talent, and like talent that would want to be appreciated by these people. So it's like, kind of putting the two together and,
Bridging that gap.
making something happen, connecting golfers.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Leo, it was an absolute pleasure having you on for such a young professional individual. I'm always impressed in all the things that you're working on. You're definitely one person that from the beginning, you have always taken massive action, right? Often I talk about the non-refundable minutes, right? The high performance aspect of life and also business. And you're definitely exemplifying that to me. I always enjoy like listening to you and the journey and the path that you're taking because you don't waste any time. And I think in 2025, that's probably an area that a lot of people have to kind of rethink, right? Because especially now we're kind of tend to slow down towards the end of the year, but I think this is the right time to start building up that game plan, right? Because life just goes by way, way too quick, and there's just so much to do. So I highly recommend everybody to connect with Leo. We'll put some a link to get in touch directly with Leo. We always do a giveaway as well on the show, guys. So we will work something out with Leo and his team to see if we can get something together for you if you want to take advantage. So, Leo, thank you so much for taking the time. I already want to wish you happy holidays in advance. I know you're going to take a little bit of time to spend with your amazing family, but I'm very excited to stay connected and to do more good work together moving into 2025. So, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate you.
Happy holidays, my friends. And there you have it, guys. We'll see you in the next episode.
Stay connected.